And you seem like the kind of guy who, if you were president, you might use an executive order or two, though.
Well, I will say this. There's a lot of precedent based on what he's doing. Now, some have been, his executive order on the border. Amazingly, the courts actually took that back a step and did something that was very surprising, which is they did the right thing. So that maybe that one. But I would be rescinding a lot of executive orders that he's done. I mean, the one thing good about executive order, the new president, if he comes in, boom, first day, first hour, first minute, you can rescind that.
Let me ask you about a video that's been put out by Al-Shabaab. This is an ISIS-affiliated terror group. And in the video, they use you, Donald Trump, a clip.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what is going on.
And then the video goes on and says, the West will eventually turn against its Muslim citizens. They're saying to Muslims, either you join jihad or leave the United States because of what Mr. Trump is proposing.
Look, there's a problem. I bring it up. Other people have called me and they say, well, you have guts to bring it up because, frankly, it's true, but nobody wants to get involved. Now people are getting involved. People that are on different persuasions than me right now, John, are saying, maybe Trump isn't wrong. We want to examine it. There's a lot of bad stuff going on. I'm watching the news tonight, actually, CBS. And so many of the elements, you look at Germany, you look at Brussels, you look all over the world. They're shutting down cities that never had a problem before. They're shutting down countries that never had a problem before. You look at Paris, what happened. You look at California, what happened. John, maybe it's not politically correct. There's a big problem out there, and we have to solve the problem.
Does it concern you at all that you're being used in essentially a recruitment video by a terrorist organization?
They use other people, too. I mean, what am I going to do? I have to say what I have to say. And you know what I have to say? There's a problem. We have to find out what is the problem, and we have to solve that problem.
Do you think the problem is that the West is on a collision course with radical Islam, or is this just ISIS is a problem? I mean, is this a clash of civilizations?
I think that radical Islam may be on a collision course with us. I mean, you could change it around a little bit, but it is a very, very deep-seated hatred that's going on. I mean, you have a hatred like people where they're willing to give their lives, they're willing to walk in. I have to tell you, it is so big. It is the biggest thing there is right now. When I watch President Obama say global warming is our biggest problem, it's just so sad to watch. And he doesn't want to use the words radical Islam. He doesn't want to use anything having to do with radical and Islam. So until he's willing to admit the problem, how can you not at least talk about the problem? And one of the things I've done is I brought the problem out. The world is talking about what I've said, and now big parts of the world are saying Trump is really right, at least identifying what's going on. And we have to solve it. But you're not going to solve the problem unless you identify it.
Perfectly political correct thing.
Here's the problem with political correctness. It takes too long. We don't have time. We don't have time. I talked about anchor babies at one news conference, and one of the reporters, actually from ABC, said, that's a derogatory term. I said, why? He said, well, it's derogatory. He didn't know why. And then I said, well, what would you call them? The babies of undocumented immigrants. So he gave me like a 7 or 8 word definition. I said, we don't have time for that. I'm sorry, we don't have time for that. Now look, I can be the most politically correct person that you've ever interviewed. It takes too much time.
Isn't there a cost? People think all the names they call you because of the things you say.
Well, think of the fact that I'm leading in the poll by tremendous margins, and I think that's part of it too. People don't want political correctness. They're tired of it today, and I think that's one of the things that has resonated with me. I don't go out of my way to be politically incorrect.
When you think of the presidency, the day-to-day, not the show part, not the outside, what's it going to be like? What do you think about that, the operation?
I don't think about it because, look, here's the thing. What I think is the process. We have a lot of things to solve. We have a healthcare problem that's incredible. Obamacare is going up 25, 35, 45%. You see the deductible, what's happening? It's going up so high you're never going to be able to use it. You look at ISIS. You look at our militaries and shatters. I mean, when you have General Orellana saying it's not prepared, we're not prepared. As a military, we're not prepared. It's been one of the worst, he said, and he actually said from the beginning, I watched him on an interview. He was talking about lack of preparedness from the beginning. You look at our vets, how badly they've been treated. You look at our borders, how people are just pouring across our borders. There's plenty to do. can.
Let's talk politics for a
Okay.
minute. You said that Senator Cruz appeared to be kind of copying your immigration plan. Your plan, as I understand it, is deportations, and then you'll let the good ones back in once they've left the country. His
Yeah,
plan,
well, they have to go through a process.
they go through a process. His plan is just deportations.
Okay.
So is he stricter on undocumented?
No, well, first of all, his plan just happened, okay? In fact, I was watching the other day, and I was watching TED Talk, and he said, "We will build a wall." The first time I've ever heard him say it. And my wife, who was sitting next to me, said, "Oh, look, he's copying what you've been saying for a long period of time." No, I'm talking about deportation. And people can come back into the country, not just that group, but other people can come back. But everybody has to come into our country legally. And I want a strong border. And I'm the one that came up with it. Look, when I announced that I was running, I brought up illegal immigration. It wasn't even a subject that would have been discussed in this debate. And now it's one of the very big subjects. Ted Cruz is trying to step up his whole game on amnesty and on illegal immigration because it was actually quite weak. And you listen to him and Marco Rubio, they're trying to, solve the problems that they've had in the past because they were both weak on it. And I have been very strong on it. So they're trying to get stronger on it. But look, nobody has that position like I have that position. I want the wall. I want strong borders. I want everybody out. Now people are coming to me. But nobody has that issue like me. And nobody's going to be able to do it like me. Nobody, as an example, on the wall, nobody is getting Mexico to pay for the wall, the cost of the wall, but me. They don't even know about that. It's not even in their vocabulary.
But nobody thinks you're going to get Mexico to pay for the wall.
You know why? They make a fortune with us. So much more money than what you're talking about. They're making a fortune. We have trade deficits. If you look at the kind of numbers that Mexico makes with us, the wall is peanuts. Only a business person would say that. The politicians don't understand it. They're all talk and no action.
You said that the good ones would come back on an expedited basis. Wouldn't Senator Cruz say, well, that's amnesty?
I think that the good ones will be coming back, and I would say that we want to have them back, but we want to have a lot of other people. We have one problem. We have millions of people waiting on lists that have gone through a legal process and they can't get into the country. We have to take care of them. I want people to come in. They just have to come back legally.